Here it is, the mad scientist with Robert Howland, who has been on an expedition. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I went on an expedition. I went to DuPont State Forest, located near Brevard, North Carolina. It's between Hendersonville and Brevard. It's southwest of Brevard. You go down Canoga Road, and that, I think, turns into Crab Valley Road, and then it's off to the left. Anyway, I went to DuPont State Forest. It's fairly big. And
you were telling me it was, what, 600 miles of trails or something?
90 miles.
90 miles.
Yeah, it features 90 miles of hiking trails.
Right.
And I think it might be like 7 miles long. I'm not sure. It might even be bigger than that. But, you know, it's a decent sized parcel. And it's largely wilderness area, but there are some inholdings. Okay. So it's a little bit mixed, but it's most of it is wilderness. Basically forest land with rivers and waterfalls.
Pristine.
A lot of it is pretty pristine. Now, this is how it started out. It's kind of interesting. I come down the road, the main road in, which is called DuPont Road, and there's several spots you could pull over and hike. And I went to the entrance to High Falls. And so I pull into the parking lot and I start walking down a road. It was literally a dirt road, but it was gated off, so there was no vehicle traffic allowed on it. But I think horses and bicycles are permitted.
What is the name of the place you went to?
DuPont State Forest.
That's how far from here? You did an expedition. When was this? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, so that would be October 6, 2011. And
which is DuPont State Forest.
DuPont State Forest. Okay. And as I said, it starts off as a road.
You have 90 miles of hiking trails.
Yeah.
And a lot of pristine wilderness.
Wilderness, beautiful streams and waterfalls. So I go down this road. It's about a mile total from the parking lot to the waterfall. After a while, you go on another trail, and then another trail that goes down some steps.
And I remember when you got back from that hike that you were upset.
Exactly. The whole thing is, when I finally got down there to the stream, there was, in fact, some beautiful waterfalls, because I saw a picture of them on the website. And this is a broad stream, and I got some lovely footage of the waterfall. However, I was upset, as you said, because it was obviously polluted. And I was disappointed. What happened is,
did they have? Well, go ahead.
Near the edge of the stream, there was a ball of foam about a foot tall and a foot wide.
That's pretty substantial. A foot tall foam is substantial foam.
Yeah, that's a big foam ball. I only saw one, but still, it was, as I said, a foot tall and a foot wide, and I did film it. Yeah,
that sounds like pollution from some kind of industrial pollution, or just straight out sewage pollution or something to cause that kind of a foam a foot tall.
And it was
thick foam.
It was whitish brown in color, and beyond the foam, of course, was the odor. It was a strong odor, like a sewage treatment plant. There is a sewage treatment plant on the French Broad River, north of Woodfin, between Woodfin and Alexander. And
how many miles away is that?
That's from here. That's probably about 30 miles.
Okay, I don't think we're probably looking at anything from that.
No, but what I'm saying is the reason I bring this place up, because it's similar, the odor. You go to the sewage treatment plant along the French Broad River, and you smell a foul odor that you would kind of expect from such a facility. And there's probably, of course, some pollution going into the river from the sewage treatment plant. Maybe it's not fully treated. I guess that's all to be investigated. But You know, next to a sewage treatment plant, you would expect foul odor along the river, and this was in a populated area.
But
However,
you're 30 miles away from a sewage treatment.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 30 miles from that, if not more.
Well,
and plus,
I shouldn't have any concern.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm giving that as a contrasting example where that kind of smell would be expected, and this was unexpected to come across, because this is, as I said, is removed from residential area. It's in a state forest, and you would be thinking, well, where would this sewage smell be coming from? I mean, there are no neighborhoods. There might be a couple small neighborhoods in the inholding areas, but nothing that you would think would create that much of an odor.
This is DuPont State Forest.
DuPont State Forest.
DuPont is a chemical company.
Exactly. Now, when I got home, I did some research on Google Earth.
Well, let's go back there just for a minute, back to the scene where you were. You said there were no signs up that were saying that, you know, in other words, this was it appeared as this would be a place that people might swim or wade, get in the water.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up, John.
There was nothing that was saying, no, this water is polluted, although it seemed very obvious that it was polluted.
Yes, there was no sign saying no fishing, no wading, even though you would think there should be signs there. The water was, as I said, it seemed obviously polluted.
Unfit for human
use of any kind. Okay. Yeah, even, as I said, even wading. I would be afraid to wade in it.
Well, you seem offended to even be around it from the smell of it.
Exactly.
You said it was really obnoxious.
Yeah. For instance, Lake Julian has signs saying no wading, and Lake Julian is polluted, but it doesn't have a strong foul odor associated with it like this place did. It was so strong that it was hard to hang out there. However, I traveled over 100 yards, maybe 200 yards or so along the stream, and the odor persisted. And so that indicated to me that it wasn't coming from, let's say, an isolated pile of trash or sewage near the stream on the shore that was hidden in the woods from view. Since the odor persisted along the stream for, as I said, over 150 yards, it makes me think that it was coming from the stream itself. Once I went back up in the woods, the odor dissipated. Also, this is a large stream. This is not a small stream. This is a large, fast-moving stream. And as I said, this is a strong odor. When you combine the fact of a strong odor with a large stream, it makes me think of large-scale pollution, that it's not something small like a porta-john as suggested by the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. I did call this in to our local branch office in Swannanoa.
Did you think about reporting it to the people that are in charge of monitoring our waters and stuff?
Exactly.
If they're clean?
I figured that would be an excellent idea to report it to them. And the man I talked to there seemed to think that, that it might be either from natural causes or from a septic field runoff, from a nearby residential area, or porta-johns, perhaps from a nearby construction site. However, the odor was so strong, and as I said, the stream kind of big, it makes me think that one or two porta-johns or perhaps a bad septic field wouldn't be big enough, to create or be able to put out enough pollutants to create that much of a smell that far downstream. Keep in mind, I was downstream of the waterfalls and no houses were in view.
You called it in and you told who about it?
The Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. And this is a state government office.
Of course, they would have been very interested and wanted to check the situation out, right?
They did say there was an ongoing cleanup of the soil around the site. Now, the thing is, I told the man I talked to on the phone, then I Googled Earth this area and discovered that there is an obvious factory type structure nearby, and perhaps upstream from the waterfall that might be an obvious culprit. He says that it's an old DuPont plant. I'm not sure if it's old or still in use. I'm assuming it's old, but he says there's a cleanup going on with the soil there. So I'm assuming if the soil's contaminated, well, obviously it seems like the water's contaminated too, but he didn't mention a water cleanup, or as I said, he didn't even seem that concerned that it could be a big issue and something that needs attention. I asked him to do some tests. He implied that he would, and he said that he would call me if they have any further questions. So far, I haven't heard anything. It's been 2 weeks. And as I said, his attitude wasn't of much concern, so I wonder if the tests were even performed. Now we get to the news of it all, so to speak. John and I are planning to hike back to the site tomorrow and collect a water sample for ourselves, and then we can have it analyzed and see if this area really is polluted.
So when you came back from your hike, I really remember you were very upset about it, and that you immediately kind of called it in, and from talking to you at that time, I was getting the impression that they were telling you, oh yeah, you were probably just smelling a porta-john that was sitting around there or something, and you're thinking that the water is polluted, you know.
Exactly.
And nothing to worry about, and that maybe they weren't really thrilled with the idea that you might be making waves and causing them more work to have to go look at some water or something. That
yeah, he didn't seem like it was that urgent, and I kind of expected him to have the opposite attitude and act like it is an urgent situation, because that's the way I see it.
Like, thank you for letting us know there's a problem. We'll go check into it.
Exactly, and when I told him there was no signage,
he kind of tried to tell you that you were mistaken.
Exactly, when I said,
there was not a polluted water.
Exactly, and I'm like, how come there's no signage there warning people not to fish or wade or swim there? He acted like that wasn't appropriate, like there really shouldn't be signage, and as you said, it was like I was kind of imagining it. He even implied it could be from natural sources. Well, the good way to get a handle on this, obviously, is to make a return visit.
So we're going to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
And hike in, and we're going to take some plastic bottles with us and take some water samples.
Exactly. And maybe we should bring gloves too.
And we'll
because you spend that water.
It's that bad. You wouldn't even want it on your hands.
That's what I'm almost thinking. Yeah, that I would want to have gloves on my hand when I took the water sample, because you'll see when you get there with the foul odor that it's definitely something possible, E. coli or whatever, and if you get it on your hands. Especially when you're removed like a mile from any place to wash your hands, all it takes is you to rub it on your eye or on your nose or something, or your lip.
And I'll bring the camera and try to get documentation, video the situation.
That's what I'm
see if we still see a foot tall clump of foam.
Exactly, and you could give me your take of the odor. And stuff like that, and tell me how bad you think it is, and so
we'll get the water samples back home, and we'll look at them in the microscope and see what's swimming.
Yeah, we might be able to find stuff swimming in there for real. There probably is. Of course, in any river you would expect to find some natural protozoans, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But what will we find here? I mean, as I said, there could be E. coli or maybe other harmful bacteria. I guess that's why we need to have it tested.
What did it smell? Just like raw sewage? Is that what it smelled like?
Exactly.
Well, that doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, that's not good. So
it'll be ongoing, and this is just the beginning. You've made the initial excursion.
Exactly, and the reason we're going back is there's a meeting of the North Carolina Conservation Alliance coming up in late November, and the head of the alliance is going to come here to Asheville, and I was thinking of confronting her with this issue of this polluted stream in DuPont State Park, as I said, with no warning signs, warning hikers that it's polluted.
Perhaps you can gift her a plastic bottle full of water.
That's what I'm thinking. I could give her a sample, and that
to see what she thinks.
That would probably be an excellent idea.